All right, Virgo, welcome, welcome. This will be your July reading. I have a Virgo moon, so I'll be tuning into this one as well to see what comes through from the guides, through the cards. I'm changing it up in July, based on something that I've been experiencing and feeling, and what my guides have been saying will suit all of you that tune in, because they have the capacity to know who's going to tune in and who has a frequency match and who doesn't as well. So we are going to draw 3 cards, tarot for the 3D, and 3 shadow cards from my Stalk Your Shadow Oracle deck for the 5D shadow. So for most of us, we are 5D beings living in a 3D world, which is in itself very difficult at times. Balancing those polarities is where I find most of my students and members are having trouble with. It's reorganizing and restructuring your 3D life over and over again to keep your frequency high. And we know that stuff is incredibly important. If you hang out in low vibration environments, you eat low vibration food, you have low vibration conversations, you will be brought back down into those layers. And then you'll go back into victim mode, into egoic narratives, into fight and flight, into survival mechanisms. But we also know that we're these 5D beings, and we've experienced the awakening, and we've experienced states of transcendence and oneness and connection, right? So really, it seems in this incarnation, in this very interesting time, we're working with that balance, keeping our frequency and our vibration high so we can stay in the ease and grace, closer to an unconditional love frequency than a fear-based conditioning frequency. But we still have to live in both. And it's really about how you prioritize sometimes the small things in your life to keep that vibration high and avoid the temptations, the environments, events, peoples, places that sap your energy, bottom out your resources, and make you go into a lower vibration. And you can usually tell when that's happening, but sometimes it's a little bit sneaky. It can be like a slow descent down, and then all of a sudden re-traumatized, re-triggered by fear-based conditioning, and then everything starts to turn into chaos, and your guides are trying to get your awareness. They're saying, yo, like, things are off. We can see it. What are you doing? Trying to wake you up with signs and signals and symptoms, but sometimes we just insist on habits, behaviors, conditioning, patterns. Maybe we're used to it. Maybe it's comfort. Maybe it's because we're going through a huge awakening and a healing crisis. Sometimes we forget. We forget that we are on a mission here, that we have a spiritual purpose, and it's not just pleasure and enjoyment, although that's a very important part of why we're here, to just experience love, fear at the same time, and everything else in between. So I wanted to honor that by having as much 3D awareness as shadow awareness. And it really just gives you a heads up of what might be coming. And then please watch the video at the end of the month and do some journaling about how it showed up for you, which parts resonated. Did you embrace and engage well with some of the more difficult themes, or did you avoid and deny what sort of played out? That can be really helpful. So, Virgo. First part about your 3D life is things are moving. Projects are all aligned. You might have a lot of creative projects on the go, and it looks like they're all heading towards the same place. So this can be a really beautiful feeling of coming out of stagnancy. It can be like everything's working out. So acknowledge that. Please take care of your resources. We don't want to burn out just because you're so excited about all the things, right? We know life is about ups and downs. We want to make things as sustainable as possible. Again, regulate and structure that 3D world so that you can have all of the energy that's accessible to you in the 5D. So when all projects are flying, even on the 3D, gratitude will keep us up in 5D with a surrendered approach to, well, it's all working now, And I'm sure things will shift, and that's okay. But right now, I'm going to go with it, trust and surrender that the doors are open because it's divine timing. And I still need to look after my physical vessel. So what I see with very dynamic, creative people is when all projects are on, they burn their resources out, they burn their adrenals because they're so excited and they don't want to eat properly and they just want to keep going and all that sort of stuff. So make sure you sleep, eat, do all the right things, hydrate, and let those projects fly. We are exploring connection. We are understanding who we feel connected to. This is a divine soul connection, right? So it's not dysfunctional connection. It's one where we find balance, respect, and harmony with others. So it does say that relationships aren't transactional. They're really about, sometimes I have to fill your cup up a little bit. Sometimes you have to fill mine up. Sometimes I lead, sometimes you lead. And that's okay. I think we're always in that dance, but as long as it feels like it's respectful and honoring both parties. A lot of people can find this happens. There's not many conversations about what's actually happening. There's not many accountability conversations on like, hey, I really want to explore my evolution and all my projects are flying. But where are you at? Because for one, are you working on yourself so that we can keep going in that dance? Or are you not working on yourself and you're actually holding me back by criticizing or judging what I'm doing? So it might be us figuring out that dance and where we're at with people. Because if there's a distance and a separation, we might be figuring out our own evolution, and that's great. Better to have those conversations around like, I think I just need to go over here and deal with this thing. I might need a bit of space. I don't know how I'm going to be coming out the other side, but that's where I need to do. And I feel I need to do it on my own. Great. Awesome. Yeah. Really happy. Let me know when you come out of it. Or I feel like there's a growth spurt. Are we going to do it together in our own way? Or am I off on my own tangent over here and you're doing your thing, right? So figuring out who you're in a dance with and what kind of soulful connection is really both complementing your projects moving forward, but might be pulling you back as well. So I guess the truth, thank you, Spirit, is to identify who you're in that respectful dance with and who you are not. Because with all projects lining up, you're going to need the right people around you. Now, that's not to say you're out, you're out. It's really to say like, hey, where are we at? Because I feel like we lost the dance a while ago. I feel like we were in this bubble and then we got out of the bubble. Are we back in or are we separate for a little while? And I think no matter what the situation is, what level of distance helps me to stay in love with you forever is a really nice question. Friends, associate, colleagues, family members, intimate partners, whatever it is, really, we still want that level of honor, I think. Also be very mindful of when you've tapped out of the dance and you don't have capacity and you're bringing someone else down because you've lost your own soulful connection to yourself, you've lost your own sparkle, and you probably want to go away and deal with that with your own support network and be really honest, like, I'm going through something. I don't feel I have anything to give. My cup's so empty, it's ridiculous. I'm going to step back, allow you to shine. And when I'm back in it, I'll let you know and I'd love to connect, right? This level of integrity is what we need. Who's in the dance? Have we lost it for ourselves? Who do we want to dance with? And what does that mean for us right now? Very Virgoan. Because Queen of Wands is here. Ooh. She is a dynamic, creative, impulsive, decisive, bright queen. She is argumentative when she needs to be. She is dramatic when she needs to be. She will pick you up, put you down, whatever needs to happen to work with her intuition, her creativity, and her impulses and her instincts. So she's very assertive. She's very confident. There's something coming through in both the projects aligning, the right people to dance with so that she can come to the forefront and get some things done. Now, bright, happy, intuitive, impulsive, all the things you want it to be, very charismatic, very electric to be around, But when she has the room, she has the room. So that level of creative genius is here or is coming through in July. So she can be very bold. There is light and shadow in her, like all queens. Take the parts that resonate, do it in your own way, do it with warmth and compassion and leadership, and do it for the right reasons. Shadow aspects of Queen of Wands is she can be very impulsive. She can drop people at the first instance of, I couldn't be bothered with you, I'm going over here. And she can be too impulsive for her own good. She can also be very competitive. Now, you decide if competitiveness is in your value system. If you would like to be competitive against yourself, that's great. Go to the heights of your creativity to see what you're capable of. I love that. Competitive to show other people that you're better than them, dicey, and competitiveness might leave you isolated and lonely because people can see that you're doing it on a higher realm than wanting to dance at the same time. So we can have it all, Virgo. We can have it all three parameters. You can have all your projects working, you can have a divine dance with the people around you, and you can be in your creative genius. Let's make sure we're on top of the shadow as well. So it's going to be electric this month. Please manage your adrenal systems as well. Too much creativity, too much fire, too much impulse, too much spark can wear you out, right? So this has the shadow aspect of what I was talking about. Scorpion is, you don't have to put people down. You don't have to speak your mind too much. You don't have to be argumentative or cruel to show people that you're passionate. You can be compassionate, warm, respectful and understanding, but still prioritize where you're going, right? So I think when people can see the mission that you're on and what you need around you to get the job done, and that it's a big mission and you're going places and you're really enthusiastic with it, they can see that passion and that drive. But what I see with a lot of passionate driven people is they can turn their, Scorpion does this, turn their gaze on others and say, you're not doing good enough, you're not doing good enough, you're not doing good enough, right? We don't want that lizard tongue, so to speak, and we don't want that stinger coming out towards other people. We want to focus your passion on the things that are worth it, the things that are lighting you up, that have a higher meaning and purpose, that are beautifully creative and passionate and so worthy of your pursuit, to put it in very plain words without being a bitch in the meantime. Okay, so that's not degrading any females in the room. That's just saying we don't have to go towards people as a show of power, right? We want Queen of Wands energy to be here, not her shadow aspects. Thank you. Because there's a lot of shadowy nature in this. Lizard says, you're strong, you're capable, you can have many lives, so to speak. You can be knocked down and get back up over and over again. And you can do all of that with kindness. I think a lot of people, myself included, sometimes see kindness as a weakness, particularly when it's displayed as a people-pleasing mechanism. But unconditional kindness reminds me of compassion. It reminds me of people that have done a lot of work on themselves that can still find warmth, even when they're charging forward, even when they're successful. Because Lizard has a very thick skin, has been here a very long time, has ancient knowledge around how to regenerate and be resilient. I find a lot of resilient people with grit can close their hearts off a little bit and say, well, fuck it. This person wasn't right to me. This person let me down. Rah, rah, I'm just going to do it on my own. We want to say, I really feel like there's something that I could pursue, and I want the right people around me, and I want to be kind, and I want to be warm no matter what. What do I need in my support network, in my self-care, in my self-responsibility that keeps me in the warmth of Queen of Wands rather than in the competitive dark shadow dysfunctional part of Queen of Wands, right? Bowerbird is a reminder to keep your environment aligned with the beauty you want to see in the world. So get creative in your home space, get creative in your branding, get creative in your garden, in your environment, and let it all signal to you the abundance that's happening. Don't negate how you signal to yourself the things that you love. If your office is drab, ask them if you can bring some plants in. If your house is looking too white and bare, color the walls. Bring in textures, colors. You can do this all very affordably to make it signal to you that this is who you are and this is the level of creativity that you'd love for yourself. Who cares what anyone else thinks? Go for gold. I think it's really important when people stand in the ownership of what's going on inside, and you can see that very visibly on the outside. It doesn't mean that you have to prove to people who you are, but it means that when people come around to your house, they go, oh, is that what you're about? That's cool. Or if they see how you dress or the way that you look after your dwelling, your garden, your car, whatever it is, they get an insight into who you are rather than trying to figure out what's going on with that person, because you see that they're deeply creative, but they're not actually expressing it. So you get a bit of a, what's going on here? I think what can really unsettle people is when we don't own the level of creativity and passion we have in our lives for our environment, and we try and prove to people how passionate we are through dysregulated or dysfunctional speech. And that can be online, spreading negativity, or projecting onto people to let them know that we're fierce and strong. I think show them who you are, embody it, have it around you so it's obvious, do it in very healthy, empowering ways so that it can be seen in more ways than one for yourself and for other people, right? And particularly with that dance in divine connection, being as authentic and expressive as you can so that people really understand who you are and they don't really have to try very hard to be like, what are you about? And I don't really understand what's going on. And, you know, you seem this way, but you act another way. That discourse can really throw that dance off. Being honest, authentic, and kind to yourself might be about creating that change just here, just in your environment, with the way that you speak, with the way that you hold yourself, with the way that you dress, with the things that you love, the things in your environment, the places you like to visit, the companies you like to spend your money on. All of that is Bowerbird saying, make it beautiful. Everything that you do, make it aesthetically beautiful for you. And people will be like, I get it. Or it's not my thing, but I totally love that. So express yourself in empowering ways. Be careful of that sting. Be careful of that bitterness. Be careful of that competition. But everything is aligned for you, Virgo. Let's do it well and let's do it sustainably. I love you so much. I will see you next month. Bye.